Hello and welcome to the Gamers Academy YouTube channel. My name is Outlandish and I played this game competitively for 4 years, but decided to retire recently, become a coach, and partner up together with Gamers Academy, provide you guys education content to make you the best players you want to be. If you want to book me or one of my colleagues for individual coaching sessions, you can book us on gamers-academy.com. You can find the homepage in the description below. And on top of that, you can use this code to save up to 10% for the first session you will book with us. In this episode, we'll talk about 3 rising stars in solo queue, 3 new champions you can play on 12.10 in solo queue to get some elo. All of that in the upcoming video. As I already said in the intro, today we will talk about 3 champions that are upcoming broken champions in solo queue on the 12.10 patch. If you remember, we talked in the previous patch rundown about the HP change for every champion, and I predicted this will affect the meta a lot, especially for hyper carry champions that need to scale a lot. We're talking about 3 champions today. It's first of all Swain, Gwen, and Kog'Maw, but it's just an example of like basically every hyper carry champion that is coming back into the meta because they are being less punished, less assassins are being played, and less lane bullies are being played. People have more time to scale up with the HP buff, and they're being less attacked in laning phase. So champions like Vayne will come back into the meta, first of all because they have like a fantastic kit to scale up. They're hyper scaling champions, plus they have I think the natural reaction from the community was to the HP buff that percentage damage, percentage HP damage and true damage will be really broken, because the more HP you have, the better percentage damage is. So champions like Kog'Maw and Vayne are profiting from that a lot, and Vayne has had on her W true damage on enemy champions, so it was a natural reaction from the community that this champion will be more played, and especially in the combination with more enchanters on bot lane, for example as Lulu and Yuumi, that are coming back into the meta. Vayne is one of these champions that will come back to the meta, especially really strong on ADC, but as a flex pick on top lane as well. The next champion we're talking about is one of the most broken champions since release. It's Gwen. She's got even stronger on the 12.10 patch because she's profiting a lot from the HP buffs. She's profiting a lot from the better base stats every champion has from level 1 onwards. So she's not even less punishable in the laning phase. This was like one of her only weaknesses, that you could like look to punish her in early game a lot with like a strong early game jungler and a good matchup into it. Nowadays 12.10, her win rate and her pick rate is even higher, and her ban rate exploded on this patch because a lot of people are picking her up. She's flexible into 3 roles. She's basically being played in mid lane, top lane, and jungle, most being played on top lane, obviously. And she has a lot of value because she is scaling really well. She's scaling on every item. She has no real ceiling. She's getting stronger and stronger the longer the game goes. And even though you're putting every resources against her and trying to shut her down, at some point she's just an unstoppable side lane champion and really strong in team fights. If you're starting to learn the champion, I would recommend you to ban Jax. Jax is like the strongest champion right now you can pick into Gwen. We see in MSI drafting phases that people are even banning Jax in the first rotation just to secure the Gwen pick on top side. So this is one of the matchups she doesn't like, but in general, even though she was even broken before, she's even stronger now on 12.10 because she's like profiting from the HP buffs a lot and has a really strong and stable laning phase currently. So go abuse that. The last champion we are talking about in this episode is Kog'Maw. I think you see a kind of a pattern that like hyper carry champions are just currently really strong on 12.10, and as I said already for Vayne, a lot of champions that struggled before that in the laning phase, that got punished a lot, are currently stronger now because they have just more defensive stats in the laning phase. That means that the game is way slower nowadays and isn't like really flip in the first few minutes. So champions like Vayne and Kog'Maw are profiting from that a lot. Kog'Maw, just as a champion design, has like together with Enchanter, something like Lulu, a dominant laning phase. You can like play really aggressively and has like a really good scaling into late game. I think Kog'Maw is just like the definition of like an hyper carry champion. He's like unstoppable in the late game, and now you're not even getting punished that much in the laning phase. That's why like his pick rate and his win rate just exploded on this patch. The same dynamic as on Vayne. He has like a lot of damage on his W, not true damage as Vayne, but damage combined with the HP of the enemies, which is like, just as I said for Vayne already, just a natural reaction on the patch, because the more HP the enemies have, the more damage you're dealing through like HP damage. That's why Kog'Maw is currently being played as well. He doesn't have that much matchups that punish them a lot. Champions like Kalista drop in value on this patch because they needed to play that really, really dominant laning phase. So now for Kog'Maw, it's pretty chill for him. He can just like play his laning phase out and just scale to Oblivion. And another really positive fact about the champion is currently that he's flexible as well. If you remember, there was a meta where just Kog'Maw was being played as an AP artillery mage in mid lane, and this is still viable. You can play Kog'Maw in mid lane as well, and control mages or like long range mages are profiting from the patch as well because they have a really stable laning phase currently and not getting punished at all. So just as a summary for this whole video, it doesn't matter like which champion we're really talking about. It's like just a general trend we have currently. If you just check the statistics or like what pro players are playing currently in solo queue, is that like hyper carries are dominating right now this patch. More hyper carries are getting banned in draft phase, but more hyper carries are even having better win rates. So scaling champions are just really, really good right now on this patch. You have Kog'Maw, you have Vayne, you have Gwen, you have stuff like Kayle that's even getting hot fixed in the next patch. So a lot of hyper scaling champions are profiting right now from the HP buffs and from the base stats. And just is just like a natural reaction on the current patch we have. We will talk about the other side of that patch as well, like which champions are like the biggest losers of this whole patch. We will talk about that in the next video, but for now, if you want to climb in solo queue, if you want to gain some elo, just play like these scaling champions that are like not being able to punish right now on this patch, and just try to scale up in the early game, reach the mid game, reach a few items, and you just take over, especially combined with hyper carries combined with enchanters. So enjoy that. Thanks for watching this episode on the Gamers Academy YouTube channel about the topic 3 new champions on 12.10 that are currently broken. We would appreciate if you like, subscribe, and activate the bell on our channel, or leave us a comment, some feedback about the content we are creating, or discuss with me about this topic, about the new patch, and how you feel about the new champions that are currently strong. If you want to discuss that with me or one of my colleagues in depth, you can join our official Gamers Academy Discord server. You can find the link in the description below. Thanks so much for watching and see you next time. Goodbye.